Hey everybody, I'm Joe DeGanzik and this is Smarter Home Life. Today I want to talk a little bit about the V in HVAC. It's that acronym that means heating, ventilation, and cooling, and is sometimes confusing to some people. I've talked about, the Nest thermostat. I've talked about automating your heating and cooling system through the Q&A episodes that I do here. But I really haven't talked about air movement and getting it to move around through fans and whatnot and the various options. Obviously your cooling and or heating system, whatever that may be, wherever you may live, and it may be appropriate in your part of this country, the US or the world, that's what's going to actually perform that cooling or heating or opening your windows if you live in a wonderful temperate climate. But otherwise, moving the air around obviously cools us down, or can warm us up in the winter. A ceiling fan that's set to reverse will pull that warm air off the ceiling and pull it down into the living space. But it doesn't actually cool or warm your actual home or a specific room. It might mix the air up a little bit, but it's really not going to do anything else. So obviously, automating that in addition to something like your central air system or your window units or what have you, for when you leave or say go to bed, unless you want that cooling or warming effect by the movement of air when you're sleeping, that's a good energy saving idea. Now obviously the options for that, well, some ceiling fans of course come with regular wireless remotes they have for years. There are option kits to upgrade your existing ceiling fan to do that. Nowadays there are, over the past probably 1 to 2 years, maybe 3 years, with some technologies, there is some home automation built into certain ceiling fans that you can buy. Usually you're paying the price of that technology. So I usually like to get kind of more of a dumb ceiling fan and then upgrade it. And in the past, I've taken one of those remote control kits and upgraded a ceiling fan as well. But recently, nowadays, over the past couple of years, we've now seen upgrade kits that also contain home automation technology so that you can add that to your home automation system. And that's what I want to focus on today. Now, some of those products, unfortunately, will only control the fan. They will not also control the light if you have a light kit installed on your fan. And it's a very confined space. You have to place a controller device and wire it in literally inside a little tiny space inside the canopy right at the ceiling. Over the past couple of years, this is actually not a brand new device, but it's brand new to me, and thanks to Insteon for sending it along for review and testing purposes. Full disclosure, although I actually love and use Insteon technology myself and have for 10 plus years. The ceiling fan controller, or what used to be called the fan link from Insteon, controls both the fan and the light. You're actually getting two devices in one, and they show up as separate controllable devices. When you install it, and I'm not going to guide you through the whole process because it's electrical and wiring, and if you're not comfortable with that kind of stuff and don't have the patience to maneuver this into a very, very confined space, the little device that fits in the palm of your hand, please ask someone with patience and electrical experience, or perhaps a licensed electrician to do the install for you. So otherwise, it gives you both controls. You set the ceiling fan to its maximum speed, and then the device will control 3 different low, medium, and high speeds, and full range dimming, compatible with things like LED bulbs, and you get features in Insteon products that you don't necessarily get with other dimmers on other home automation technologies. Something that I really like, which is fade rate, creating those really nice dramatic fades from one brightness to another over multiple minutes or just a few seconds, and that's configurable with everything that you do with Insteon. The process, once you actually get this thing wired up and installed, and I went through the whole process just the other day, and it's a pain. Have some patience if you're going to take it on yourself. But otherwise, you put it together, you put it up there, you wire it, you put the canopy back up, and you're good to go. Make sure to write down the code of the module before you actually install it so you can link it to your controller. I'm not going to go through that setup because it's pretty standard. If you're already familiar with Insteon and you're using their products or controllers or hubs, you're already familiar with this process. It's kind of like linking up a HomeKit product if you've played with those as well. You type in the code or you press one of the set buttons on the device, and it will then link it up to the controller, and then you're good to go. It's a pretty simple setup process. Rename the device to what you would like. Actually, you get 2 devices in one, 2 separately controlled devices, and then you can add it to your schedules and scenes and triggers and whatnot. And I have some various ideas for the ceiling fan that I have, which is actually over there. There's the other camera that we'll use for a few seconds. It's the only ceiling fan I have, and so it's going to be part of certain scenes and certain automations. I'll kind of tell you about some of those a little bit later, but I do want to actually do an actual demo and show you one of my ideas for creating some real automation instead of just button press triggered automation or schedules, something that ties sensors together. Okay, so for this demo I'm using HomeKit, and I'm using it kind of in my own magical way of getting all of these devices to work together. For this demo you may be using this on the actual Insteon app or some other way, but otherwise the concepts are basically applicable to every type of home automation. And I'll have more about my own home system and how it's all set up coming in early 2017. But if I want to, this is the Apple Home app. There are other apps that you can use to control your HomeKit devices. I'm just using this because it's super simple. So I can just tap and get the ceiling fan to turn on. It's going to go on full blast. I can 3D touch or long press and simply bring it down a little bit. The animation will change at the top. It's a nice touch, Apple. And I can bring it down to, say, medium speed. The percentage won't really change if you're using the Insteon controller because it only has low, medium, and high. But other dedicated, say, HomeKit ceiling fans with the tech built right in may actually have a variable speed all the way from 1% up to 100%. So anyways, the animation changes, the fan speed changes as well in real life, and I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to shut it off for now. The light turns on. Now this is using some kind of strange acting Philips bulbs that I'm testing that have the kind of that warm glow, that ambiance feature built in, but they're not totally linear for some strange reason. And to show you that it actually does work, that the dimmer does work with incandescent bulbs, and it also does work with LED bulbs, regular ones. These are just acting a little bit weird. So I'm going to bring this down. So it's on a slow dimmer just because I'm compensating for its kind of strangeness that it's doing. So I'm going to bring it down to just about there. That looks good. And I'm going to leave that there. Now let's make some magic happen. So what I want to do is to feel a little bit more comfortable, and this is in Phoenix, where we can have warm days and cold nights during the winter and the fall and the spring. So sometimes you want the ceiling fan on, sometimes you don't. And it would be cool to actually get it to do its own thing, and you don't have to even worry about it unless you want to control it manually. So what I want to do is, based on a temperature range, is make it basically turn on to a certain fan speed. And I'm just going to do one at this point. I'm going to add more in the future, and I'm going to add some other automations as well. So Apple's Home app doesn't let you do quite this because they're just restrictive on what they want you to do with various sensors or whatever, so I don't have that option here. But I can go into the Eve app. Eve is the lineup of Elgato sensors that I've reviewed over the summer, and I have one that's sitting over there in the office space that is an indoor temperature, humidity, and air quality sensor. So it's about 76.5. So what I want to do is I'm going to use this app. This and other apps like the iDevices app are very good for HomeKit, and they can let you do more things than the built-in Apple Home app does. So I'm going to tap down here to Scenes and Rules. I'm going to add a rule so I can add some automation, and I'm going to say Next, and I'm going to add a trigger. I'm going to add a value trigger because I want this to be for temperature. And I'm going to start with saying I have to combine two different devices, which is really kind of screwy. Elgato, if you're watching this video, please fix this and allow, you used to be able to allow multiple value triggers or conditions on one device, and it's not working anymore in the latest version of the app, so please fix that. Thank you. So if I add a specific, I want to say it's going to be greater than 75.0, and I'm going to say Add. Now I'm going to add another value trigger if it is the temperature with the actually I'm not doing it there because that's also another bug, so we'll just skip past that. I actually have to do it as a condition, another kind of screwy thing. Value condition, and I'm going to say temperature. I'm going to say the thermostat, because I can only use one at a time. I can only use one trigger at a time on a device, which does not make any sense at all. And I want to be lower than 80. So what you can see on the screen here is basically if the temperature is greater than 75.0 or less than 80.0, that's when I want something to happen. And that's what I'm going to set the fan speed to low. So I'm going to say add, and this is all good here. Everything looks fine. I'm going to say next, and let's set a scene. I'm going to just make a new scene called fan low. And let's add an action. Let's add rotational speed. Ceiling fan, which is the ceiling fan, it's the only one. And I'm going to just say about, I don't know what low would be, I'll say 25% to make sure that it truly is low. And that's it. That's all I want. That's all I want in this scene. I'm going to call this fan low. Now the magic is if we turn all of this on, the fan should start. And I'm going to say ceiling fan low. Spell that correctly. There we go. Now it's available right now. We're going to wait till there's a sort of a sensor update. So I did wait around for a couple minutes, and then I just moved the temperature sensor so it would actually force a temperature change. And as you can see, the temperature did rise by a couple of degrees. And then there's the ceiling fan low rule did fire off just a couple minutes ago. I've got two other ideas for automating the ceiling fan through the FanLink module. Beyond just those temperature ranges to do the low and medium and off, I would probably turn the ceiling fan off below 75 and to medium speed probably above 80. But anyhow, obviously, when I'm leaving the house, there's no reason to have any type of fans on, and obviously my home automation right now through geolocation turns lights off or puts them in an away mode at night, and obviously sets the Nest thermostat to away. And then going to sleep, unless you have, since that's the only ceiling fan I have in my home, I'm going to shut that down because it's obviously not in the bedroom, which is back that way. The Insteon module, as usual, is rock solid, works very reliably. I'm very happy with it so far. I'll have a product link in the video description and on the smarterhomelife.com website to the Insteon FanLink module so you can get one, but please be advised that in general it does require some sort of hub or controller to operate with, as Insteon is a proprietary communications technology. It's not Wi-Fi or something else. It's actually using special RF and also signals through your power lines to get signals back to the different devices and then back to a hub or controller. Insteon can be controlled through simple little remotes, but it kind of is a little cumbersome to do that. It's easier with apps and software and hubs and all that good stuff. And obviously, again, through the Insteon hub, you can actually link it up to the traditional hub. Works with Amazon Echo, and the HomeKit hub, although it's having some challenges right now, does work with Siri on Apple's platform. And that's it. More updates on, like I said, more information on my own system coming up in the new year, and more Insteon products to come as well. Otherwise, I'm Joe Degancic for Smarter Home Life. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, and make your home a little bit smarter every single day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.